Now to the growing tensions in the Middle East after 12 children were killed in a rocket attack in the Israeli-controlled Golan Heights. Israel blaming Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warning our response will come and it will be severe. Hezbollah denies responsibility for the attack.
And joining us now from Tel Aviv is ABC's Matt Rivers. And Matt, you visited the site of Saturday's rocket attack in the Israeli-controlled Golan Heights. What did you hear and see there?
I mean, it was a horrific scene, Will and Eva. One of the more terrible things that you can witness, I think. You saw all of the shrapnel impacts from where that rocket exploded. You saw the bikes and the scooters that some of those kids actually took to the soccer field. They were just laid there. It became debris abandoned there. It was a terrible scene. And in talking to the members of this community, this is a community of Druze people in the northwestern part of this country in an Israeli-controlled Golan Heights. I think in any community you're going to find differing opinions. But the thing that stuck out to me most is that, of course, there's grief and anger and sadness, but there's also this prevailing opinion amongst people there that they don't want more bloodshed as a result of this. They don't want more children, no matter where they are, on this side of the border, up in Lebanon, in Gaza, to die in the names of those 12 children who were killed on that soccer field.
Matt, I'm curious, what are you hearing as far as a possible response from Israel to these attacks?
Well, all we've heard concretely from the Israeli government is that the response will be severe. It will be the Hezbollah paying a price that they haven't paid before. That's what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said. Exactly what that looks like when that happens, we still don't know. This rocket attack happened on Saturday evening here, and here we are at being Tuesday, and there still hasn't been a response. That's not all that surprising. Israel usually takes a couple days to respond to these kinds of things. The biggest question is what that response looks like. Do they target Hezbollah military targets only? Do they target civilian infrastructure in Lebanon? How they choose to respond, where they choose to respond, will be the biggest factor in whether this escalates into a regional war or whether this is just an incident where Israel can respond and then move forward in some way.
Now, to that point, Matt, how serious are the concerns that the growing tensions between Israel and Hezbollah could expand into something more severe or into a wider conflict?
It is the chief concern across every actor in this part of the world, including the United States, frankly, that this could spiral into a wider war. I think most analysts will tell you that neither Israel nor Hezbollah want to have this escalate into a wider war because there would be severe casualties. Hezbollah is a much stronger power than Hamas was, for example. They have a missile arsenal that is numbered in the tens of thousands, well over 100,000. People will die here in Israel if it becomes an all-out shooting war. Both sides recognize that, and so I think most people think that the response from Israel will try to be calculated to not tip this into all-out war, but this is a very dangerous game here, guys, that both sides are playing, and if there is a miscalculation, you never know how the other side's going to respond, and that's why all of this region really is on a knife's edge at this point.
Yeah, we also can't ignore what's going on right now in Gaza. The fighting there continuing. Just this weekend, according to the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry, at least 30 were killed in an Israeli airstrike. Matt, is there any hope for the violence to end there anytime soon?
Well, we're all hoping for a ceasefire, frankly, and that's something that all sides here say they're working toward. And as recently as last week, you saw Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu meeting with the family members of some of the hostages, the Israeli hostages that are still being held by Hamas. Those family members came out and they expressed a lot of optimism that a deal would be reached. But since then, we haven't gotten really any good news. Yesterday, Hamas accused Israel of adding new demands to these negotiations. Israel denied that, pointing the finger back at Hamas. But no matter who you believe there, the end result is that it doesn't appear that a ceasefire deal is any closer. So I think if you're talking about a best case scenario, if you want a ceasefire deal, you're looking at weeks more than likely, if not months away from now, as opposed to the number of days that I think many people were sort of hoping for last week.
Matt Rivers from that knife's edge in Israel. Thank you, Matt.